Ocean's 11. Now, Ocean's 11 was released in 1960 and is directed by Milestone, and basically follows the story of Danny Ocean, this time played by Frank Sinatra in this film, who recruits 10 of his old World War II army buddies to help him rob 5 casinos on New Year's Eve. And that's basically the plot of the original Ocean's 11. And honestly, I found this movie enjoyable, nothing more, nothing less. And I think that's both the problem of the film and the good thing about the film. The fact that it is enjoyable, but in the end, I think this film lacks the emotional depth which the Ocean's 11 remake, in my opinion, has. Honestly, I'm going to make a video in a couple of days about why I actually think the Ocean's 11 remake is better than the original. Because, like, you have the Julia Roberts character in the remake, you have the Andy Garcia character in the remake. I just think having those characters in the remake make it a lot better and add more depth to the Ocean's 11 remake than the original Ocean's 11. But anyway, let's talk about my perks of the film. The thing I actually kind of like about this film, first of all. I think all the performances are great. I think there's a great chemistry between the main cast of the film, and at the same time, though, Frank Sinatra's great as Danny Ocean. Dean Martin's great in there. There's a few moments when he actually, plays 8 and a Kick in the Head, which, by the way, is a great song throughout the film, which I like quite a lot. At the same time, though, Sammy Davis Jr. is great in there as well. And also, Angie Dickinson is great in there as well, but misused in my opinion. Honestly, she's playing Danny Ocean's quote-unquote wife in the film. I wanted to see a bit more of her. Unlike the Julia Roberts character, which you see a lot of in the Ocean's 11 remake, you don't see enough of the Angie Dickinson character in this film, in my opinion. And at the same time, though, I also quite enjoyed the musical score in this film. I think it works really well with the film itself. I think it's by Nelson Riddle. I might be getting that wrong, but apologies if I am. His score for the film actually works really well in the film itself. And at the same time, though, I enjoyed watching the heist take place in the film. Watching the group rob from all these 5 casinos on New Year's Eve, because it's done really well in the film, because basically you get the countdown to New Year's Eve in all these 5 different casinos, and you also see, Danny Ocean's crew robbing the 5 casinos at the same time, and that's a really good scene in my opinion. But at the same time, though, it doesn't add any depth to the film, and I think that's where the film suffers overall. The fact that it doesn't have any depth like the Ocean's 11 remake does, in my opinion, and I think that's my problem with it. The fact that it's just enjoyable, in my opinion. Like, let's look at the Angie Dickinson character first of all. Danny Ocean's quote-unquote wife in the film. She's barely in my opinion. She was only like 2 or 3 scenes, and when she's in it, there's a bit of depth going on with her character, but there's not really anything there you can really get your teeth into. Unlike the Julia Roberts character, who is, really important to the story in the Ocean's 11 remake. In this film, you have the Angie Dickinson character there, but she don't really add a lot to the story, in my opinion. And at the same time, though, there's no sense of antagonism in this film. The only sense of antagonism is that the police might capture them after they've done the heist. That's the only sense of antagonism. There's no Andy Garcia character, which is literally the antagonist in the Ocean's 11 remake. In the Ocean's 11 remake, you have the Andy Garcia character in there, who's, engaged with the Julia Roberts character, who's a big antagonist of that film. So in the Ocean's 11 remake, not only do you have the Andy Garcia character, you also have the police after them after they've done the heist, and that's what makes it so much more interesting and so much more fun to watch as well. But in this film, you've got the police after them after they've done the heist. That's really it. And the only reason you really watch, Danny Ocean and his crew, rob these 5 casinos on New Year's Eve is because, well, they can. In the remake, there's a lot more to it. Obviously they can as well, but the thing is, though, there's a lot more to why they rob the casino in the Ocean's 11 remake. And like I said before, I'm going to make a video on why I actually think the Ocean's 11 remake is better, but for now, it's disappointing because I wanted more depth in this film. I really did. And I just think that's what the original lacks, to be honest. Because even the end, which is funny, there's a nice funny end to this film and everything. It's quite funny to watch. I'll leave you chuckling a bit at the end. But the thing is, though, it doesn't leave you with a big emotional punch like the Ocean's 11 remake does. You have the big fountain scene in the Ocean's 11 remake, and then this one, you just have, well, you just have a kind of little skit at the end, and he makes you chuckle a bit, and then you realize, oh, that's the end of the film. Like, the ending just shocked me because, I mean, it was funny, but then after I kind of felt empty. I was like, oh, that's how the end of this film? That should have been done a bit better. And in fact, it was done a bit better in the Ocean's 11 remake. At the same time, though, the film is very much of its time. Bear in mind, this film was made in 1960, and that kind of works in its favour and kind of doesn't at the same time. Well, there's quite a lot of scenes I talked about already, where Dean Martin's actually singing "Ain't Knock in the Head," which is actually quite funny. But at the same time, though, there are some racist jokes as well, revolving around Sammy Davis Jr.'s character, which was a bit like, really? They haven't aged well, I'm not going to lie. Like, there's some racist jokes in there, which honestly were just like, oh, just took me on the film, and not in a nice way at all. It was just like, really? Oh my god. It just shows you how the film hasn't aged the best, in my opinion. And at the same time, though, I don't know. I found the film enjoyable, and that was really it in the end. It's not got any emotional depth, which the remake does, and it doesn't have Steven Soderbergh's direction either. And by the way, Steven Soderbergh's direction in the Ocean's 11 remake makes it so much more enjoyable to watch. And I'm not saying this film is badly directed, but what I'm saying is when you have Steven Soderbergh's incredible direction in the remake, you miss it in this film. Honestly, you really do. And I wanted to have that emotional depth. I wanted to be more involved with the characters. I enjoyed watching them, but there was no sense that they could film what they were doing, which you kind of have a sense that they could in the remake. And it's problems like that throughout the film. And honestly, I wanted that depth. I wanted to feel invested in the characters, but I never felt that, in my opinion. It's enjoyable, sure, but honestly, I wanted a bit more than that. I really did. And ultimately, I finished this film the other night, and I just felt a bit underwhelmed, to be honest. It's not bad by any means. I'm not saying it's bad, but I wish it was a bit better. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that the original Ocean's 11, I'm going to say that's a 6.5 out of 10. Honestly, I've given it a low rating there, but I still enjoyed this film. And even though it didn't meet my expectations, I did still enjoy it. You know, it's fun to watch. It's kind of a nice heist film. If you like heist films, you probably like this one as well. But the thing is, though, I don't know, I wanted a bit more than it. I'm not going to go on about that anymore, but I do think it lacks that emotional depth. I just do. At the same time, though, it's very much of its time. It's a film made in 1960, and you can kind of tell with some of the racist jokes in there, and some of the ways the film hasn't aged the best. And at the same time, though, I don't know, I wanted to feel more of an excitement with the story. I enjoyed watching the story, you know, unravel and everything, but I wanted to feel more of an excitement where the story was going, and not really feeling like, I know where the story is going, and I can kind of see it. I can kind of see where parts of the film are going from about a mile away, and honestly, I didn't want to feel like this film. It's fun, it's nice, and you know what? It's not a bad film, but it could have been a lot better in my opinion, and to be honest, I kind of wish it was. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that the original Ocean's 11 is a 6.5 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of the original Ocean's 11? Please do comment down below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like and subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more both film and TV reviews coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!